He wasn't born a role model. He wasn't born a perfect patriot, just few experimental chemicals away from being printed out on postcards. He was being ripped of every single trait that made him who he was, until he had everything to lose. The life of Tony Stark was a life of loss. First, he loses his parents, way before he is ready to become a man. He loses his reckless attitude, which kept his conscience safe. He is indeed responsible for his actions. He loses the ignorance of his genius as he learns that his technology can be used against him. Then he loses his cosmic ignorance. We are not alone. There are otherworldly species far superior than humans, and they will come back. Tony knows it. From this day on, he's not the same man. He's changed. In the face of all the dangerous universe, he loses his feeling of safety. He suffers from severe panic attacks. He doesn't feel safe anywhere, besides when inside of his suit. He pays for his mistakes. And he pays for his mistakes again. And again. When he is confronted with the most painful truth of being a superhero, you can't save everyone. This is why he loses faith in his ability to make the right decisions. He opts for handing the responsibility over to someone else, even when it costs him too much. Tremendously too much. He also loses the comfort of free adulthood, and he becomes a father figure to a dedicated teenager from Queens. He has to give a good example from now on, and he has never been in that position before in his life. All of this to lose the spark of hope when the alien invasion he predicted back in the day happens right in front of his arms. He dedicated most of his life to prepare for defending Earth in this situation, and he fails. He can't save Earth. He can't save anyone he cares about. He even barely manages to save himself afterwards. But he probably wouldn't have accomplished that if it wasn't for an unlikely friend. The culmination of all of these failures and losses takes its toll on Tony. He betrays the only rule he's left with after the latest events. Whatever it takes. Only to never face that ground-shattering thought ever again. You weren't enough. But eventually, he comes back. Despite being a family man now, having achieved the only thing he was always lacking since the day his parents died, family. Nevertheless, he has to come back. He's a hero. He's not a literal god. He's not half a god. He hasn't got any superhuman abilities. He's the most regular person possible, protected by nothing more than a suit of iron. Slowly, he suspends his disbelief and takes the last chance. Manages to have his last conversation with his father. It's the only chance of ever saying goodbye to his dad. He almost manages to undo all of the other failures he has ever committed. But there is one last thing to do. One last thing to lose. Despite the final battle for Earth's face having gods, superhumans, half-gods, warlocks and giants, it's the most regular person possible who does it. Despite being ripped of every single trait that made him who he was, until he had everything to lose. He sacrifices his life. In the name of all his losses, and of all of the other people's losses, and of all the losses of the future to come. And he isn't getting the second chance to live his life the way he really wanted. To share it with the woman he loved, in the way she really deserved. It's not his happiness and peace that concludes 10 years and more than 20 feature films spreading across this behemoth of a cinematic saga. The very last thoughts in the brilliant mind of dying Tony Stark are about everyone else. Are they safe? Is the danger away? Did I save you? Can I rest now?
I can put a pin in it right now and stop.
Tony, trying to get you to stop has been one of the few failures of my entire life.
Yes, Tony.
Truth is,
You can rest now. Hi, I am Kuba, and you are in the bonus episode of my Moved Mind Season 3 Pop Culture. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of Avengers Endgame, as I was leaving the cinema, I still felt overwhelmed by the final chapter of Tony Stark's story. And since it affected me so much, I had to do a piece on it. Thank you for living it through alongside with me. You being here also means the concrete finish line for Moved Mind Season 3. We spent basically the whole vacations together, and it rocked. Me, I always miss you. However, if you miss me as well, you can always find me on Instagram or Twitter. It would be definitely lovely to see you there, my friend. Nevertheless, it's time to go. Please have the best Moved Mind break of your whole life. As always, don't forget to make sure you've seen all 6 of the Season 3 episodes. I tried to keep my take on moved pop culture as entertaining, personal and surprising as ever. Witaj, polski widzu. Tobie również należą się gromkie podziękowania za obecność w tym bonusowym odcinku 3. sezonu mojego Poruszonego Umysłu, którego motywem przewodnim była popkultura. Nawet jeśli nie byłem największym fanem Avengers Endgame, to ostatni rozdział historii Tonego Starka poruszył mnie na tyle, że po prostu musiałem zrobić ten wideo essay. Dziękuję za przeżycie go razem ze mną. A to, że tu jesteś, oznacza również definitywny koniec sezonu 3 Poruszonego Umysłu. Spędziliśmy niemal całe wakacje razem i było cudownie. Aczkolwiek, jeśli tobie również czegoś brakuje podczas tej przerwy pomiędzy sezonami, zawsze możesz mnie znaleźć na Instagramie czy Twitterze. Super byłoby cię tam zobaczyć. Tak czy owak, czas na mnie. Miej proszę najlepszą przerwę od Poruszonego Umysłu w twoim calutkim życiu. Jak zawsze sprawdź jeszcze, czy widziałeś lub widziałaś wszystkie 6 odcinków sezonu 3. Starałem się zrobić moją poruszoną popkulturę tak rozrywkową, zaskakującą i osobistą, jak się tylko dało.